Just after looking at the tape, Waj, can you just review the weekend for fans, what you took away from that series at UCLA?
A lot to take away. Yeah, there was a lot to take away. I think on the most positive side of the takeaway is the fact that our team's coming out of a weekend knowing they can beat anybody. Despite the fact that maybe we had told them that the entire year, because that was our belief. I think they now see it clearly that from a player's lens that they can do it. And I think there's a lot of power in that. And so probably that's the biggest takeaway.
Right. Along that same line of thinking, just how important are series like those throughout the course of the season? You mentioned throughout the year that this is a young team that's still learning. How does that experience getting put on the field, how does that help a player or a team moving forward that they put it on the field that they can compete with anybody? How does it help mentally going into postseason play?
I think every team's going to respond differently. I think the Sunday response to what occurred Saturday was really good. I think that the level of competition and how they went about their business was just, going to be a really successful way of doing it. We've played other good teams this year, but nobody as good as what we saw at UCLA. They were really, really good. And when, and I didn't need to tell the guys that because they saw it with their own eyes and they felt it, 1 through 9 in the batting order, and then every arm that they roll out there, right? And so it wasn't like there were weaknesses where you could really say, oh boy, those 2 guys in that order were, not quite great or something like that. I mean, it's a stacked group right there. And your team, when they see it, they know it and they can feel it. And when they also see that they can beat a team like that, we're hopeful that type of thought in the locker room helps really ignite these guys and get them on a hot stretch here at the most important time of the year.
You talk about the most important time of the year. It's nice to be in this position, isn't it? And for fans coming out to PK Park for a regular season finale, just what's your message maybe to them as you head here down the home stretch, hoping to host a regional?
Do what you can to be a difference at PK Park, right? That's what you see it at Autzen Stadium, and you see teams come into Autzen Stadium and the fans just dominate them, right? I mean, there's a good football team that's playing against an opposing team at Autzen Stadium, Coach Lanning's team, but yet the fans take it into their own hands, right? And they make sure that there's false starts or whatever the penalties are, and they make a difference in the game. And you can really tell from an energy standpoint that the fans at Autzen Stadium make it really hard for the opponent. And so, that's the best thing that they can do at PK Park. And, oddly, like in football, the difference, I guess, between the two would be, for me, it would be like, well, when you're going through a timeout at Autzen Stadium, sure, there's usually some things going on in the end zone and they're announcing the championship track team or the championship baseball team or whatever it is in the end zone. They do those things, but it's largely kind of quiet. But in baseball, those timeouts are really the time that you can really intimidate an opposing team. And those need to be some of the loudest times, and so actually during the timeouts would be a point of emphasis for fans. Like that's actually the time to really rise up and get on somebody. A pitching coach goes to the mound, that type of stuff. That's when you can really make a difference in the outcome of a game and affecting maybe the visiting team's mentality.
Here.
After talking to the players, they seemed pretty disappointed the way that they came out on Friday, and we're proud of the way they fought back on Saturday. A lot of takeaways after this weekend. Just how important will it be to come out strong on Thursday?
Really important. There's a lot on the line. The guys know it. There's no secrets. So it's best effort, right? And, I know that on, my message to the team on Friday was, this doesn't hurt you. I don't have any idea what to say to you. I have no relationship whatsoever. Apparently, if this doesn't really, really hurt you because of just how that went. And it obviously did. And I obviously do have a relationship with them because they showed up on Saturday. It was a totally different team that I coached and people saw it. And it was a totally different team that I coached on Sunday and people saw it and they felt it. That was the most important thing. And so how important is it? I think Everything at this point in time in the season is now magnified, and I think everything is important, and that's because you're having a good year. And if you're not magnified right now, that probably means that you're getting ready for summer baseball, and that's a really bad situation. I've never been in that here at the University of Oregon, and I don't ever plan on being in there.
Right.
It felt like nobody really embodied that difference from game 1 to game 2 of the series more than Jack Brooks. I mean, he had a tremendous game in game 2, and both the 7th and 8th helped you manufacture tying and go-ahead runs, and then made some strong defensive plays both Saturday and Sunday. Just for him throughout the course of the series, what have you seen from his work that allowed for him to step up in the back end of that series and help lead your team to a victory on Saturday?
Well, Jack's work's been tremendous the whole time. It hasn't been like, hey, last week you worked hard and so all of a sudden it showed up. Jack's work has allowed him to be successful a lot earlier than last weekend, and Jack's been in Jack's own way for that to happen, to be honest with you. Once he kind of got out of his own way, he's put in the work. He's maybe pound for pound the strongest player that we have. Tremendous kid. But yet young players, they kind of do get in their way sometimes of their own success, and they kind of sabotage themselves with negative thought, not allowing themselves to become as confident as others think that they should be. And you just don't know in a player development game how quickly guys are going to get to that point to where they stop getting in their own way and they really start getting behind themselves at a level that you saw Jack this last weekend. I hope he can continue it. Obviously, it was a good weekend, nice moments against currently the number 1 team in the country. And so for Jack, he did it against them. That should give him a lot of confidence to be able to do it against anybody.
Eric.
Just, we know that this USC pitching staff is really talented. Just what will your lineup have to do in order to find success throughout this week?
Gritty at-bats, swing at their pitch, not his pitch. Break them down with pressure on the defense, and get in the bullpen. Get in the bullpen and really stretch out the pitcher's pitch count, the starting pitcher's pitch counts. They have 3 really good starters, and to be able to stretch those guys out to where we can get them out of the game as early as we can. They're really effective. They've got good secondary pitches. They command them, the whole deal. And then getting in the bullpen is going to be really important. And then to be honest with you, just the impact of PK Park, what's that going to do for an opposing team? You saw, the last time USC really, really struggled, they got swept at Nebraska, and it was because the Nebraska fans were A++. And so I guess there's your challenge, PK Park fans, like, University of Oregon baseball fans. Are you better than Nebraska fans? And so Nebraska fans are really, really good. And so they were able to have a real positive effect for their team in that series in Lincoln. And that should be one of the objectives of our fans this weekend.
Eric, enjoy.
Just looking ahead at this weekend, I know you don't necessarily get to choose what the schedule looks like, but facing UCLA last weekend, USC to end the season, 2 top teams in the country, how do you feel like these next 2 series could really help propel the team? You talked about belief, just believing that they are one of the top teams in the country heading into the postseason.
It just feels like we're back in the pack, right? Feels like we're back in the Pac-10 or Pac-12, when you were playing USC, UCLA, Arizona State, Stanford. I mean, it was, ridiculous every single weekend. And so that's what it feels like, And so actually it probably feels really normal because of just my history and where I've worked, I guess. What impact does it have on the team? I don't know. Just playing against good people, it's good baseball, and that's what you show up for. If you're not showing up to play in, big games and against good teams and stuff like that, I just don't think that you would fit in at the University of Oregon. I mean, this place is excellent, and only excellent athletes that have the highest standards can survive here because of those standards. And it's cross sport. It's not just baseball. It's the other sports everywhere here. And so with that sort of a culture institutionally here, I think that the athletes that we get really embrace those challenges. And I think when they do well in games like they did last weekend, it should give them confidence moving forward for the next games that we have.
Talking about some of those outstanding athletes, senior weekend, some special moments for families. Wise, I know baseball is a little unique with the junior year as the draft year, but still nonetheless a senior class that you get to celebrate a little bit this weekend. What's this class meant to you? What's it done for the program?
I haven't, probably my fault. I haven't really gone back and gotten into what the senior class has meant and all that kind of stuff that's really emotional and stuff. I want to celebrate with the families. You know, I'm a dad, right? I mean, family first. And so for me, I think you get a chance to be able to see your son earn a college degree. That's a big deal. You know, on top of that, the experience of playing athletically and being able to do those 2 full-time jobs for your time in college, I think is something that every employer out there probably is seeking to hire people like Oregon baseball players or college athletes that have had the experience of 2 jobs, full-time jobs during their college career. I think that says a lot for the student athletes. And for the baseball players, I want their families to celebrate that. And I really want to honor those families. I'll probably get to thinking about all the impact of all those. I know this much. I know that since I've been the coach at this institution, I mean, we haven't missed postseason play. And so guess what that senior class can say? They've never not been in a regional/super regional. And yes, the goal is to get to the College World Series and win that thing. We haven't done that yet. And so there's some things that they've done tremendously well. You know, the kids have been here for 4 years. They've won multiple conference championships. They've been to postseason play every single year. We're one of only 10 teams in the entire country over the last 5 years that have been to postseason play every single year, with 2 of those at least being super regionals. And so what have they done on the field is part of it. What they've done off the field has really been spectacular because our team GPA's never been higher. You know, our graduation rates have been tremendous. And then in terms of Dean's List and stuff like that, I know President Schultz is really excited about the fact that, you know, our student athletes go to class and we make sure that that's a priority. So, I mean, family first. You know, this is a weekend that is an unbelievably important weekend for us as a baseball program. And for me as a dad, it's a very important weekend for me as a dad because, you know, I've got family obligations too this weekend on literally, I'm flying out on a jet on Friday night immediately after the game to go see my daughter graduate from pharmacy school at Purdue University. And as a dad, I not only want to be there, but I have to be there. That is a family event that needs to occur. And I'm thrilled for my daughter, and I love her so much. And being a dad first and a family man first, I think those things are really important. And that's what this weekend signifies for those seniors that have moved through our program. And to celebrate that with their families, I can't wait because these guys really mean a lot to me.